Right. Okay. Oh. Oh no. Is it gonna focus? Yes. All right, welcome back to another Facebook Live yoga class. I hope you're having a lovely week. It's Wednesday. Yep, we're getting the days now, but I hope you're having a lovely week and enjoying the sun. We're gonna do some lunchtime yoga. Yes. Just a reminder that all of these yoga classes that I do on Facebook Live, they're available all week for replay. So if you miss this one, if you're here, you know, you can replay it anytime you like. And then I move these classes over onto my YouTube channel. So you can replay this at your leisure. Yeah, I want to make them as accessible as possible to as many people as possible. So that's why I'm doing that. But yeah, if you've missed any of these classes and they're not on my page, just go to my YouTube channel and you'll be able to find them. But yeah, a bit of lunchtime yoga and then I'll let you be and get back out into the sun after that. You may even be doing this outside, and if you are, you're very lucky. Make sure to hydrate. So today we're going to be focusing on hamstrings. Oof. Notoriously tricky area to deal with. They tend to get really tight, especially if you do other sports like running, cycling. Yeah, the hamstrings just get tight a lot. They need stretching out regularly. But yeah, and also patience with hamstrings. Got really low all of a sudden. So you need to be patient with yourself. The hamstrings don't like lengthen overnight. You need to be consistent with your yoga, or at least your stretches. And please make sure you are stretching them out after a gym visit, a run, a cycle. I see so many people at the gym especially who have just done a session. They hop off the treadmill, or they've just been doing a leg day, and they just walk out the doors without stretching, and honestly, it just kills me inside just a little bit. So make sure that you're stretching them out, and it's really important to keep working this area to avoid injury, to avoid like spraining your hamstrings, tearing them. So yeah, I've got a little bit of got a few people walking, got my granddad walking in and out to be doing some work, so if I get distracted, that's because I hear him. All right, he's very loud. So we're going to be doing hamstrings. We're going to start with a couple of lying postures, maybe one actually. We're going to work our way up, build some heat. We're going to be doing quite a few sun salutations, downward dogs, and we'll be having a look at a few Ashtanga postures. So Trikonasana, reverse Trikonasana, pyramid pose. We're going to be playing around with that one a little bit. The forward folds, all fabulous ways to work into the backs of the legs. So let's get to it. You may want a yoga strap if your hamstrings are tight for the first posture. If you have any injuries, please check with your doctor before doing this. And if you've got any questions, you can just give me a shout and I'll try my best to answer them. All right, so with all that said, let's get ready to show our hamstrings some love. Right, lie down flat on the floor. So we're going to start from a lying position today. So legs straight or knees bent. If your back feels a little bit iffy, hands a little way away from the body, palms facing up, and just let the feet fall out sideways. My favourite part of any yoga class, lying down, not doing anything, because sometimes we don't give ourselves permission to just lie down, relax, focus on the breath, let the body be really heavy. So it's a little bit of a treat, actually. Alright, so we're just going to spend a minute or so focusing on the sensations in the body, bringing the attention into the room or the garden, bringing the attention onto the mat. So forgetting about what you've done earlier in the day or any stress that may have happened earlier on in the week, and forgetting about what you're doing later on. So just for this 1 hour, focusing on your yoga postures, focusing on your practice, so give yourself this time. And then once you've taken the attention around the body, paying special attention to areas that feel tight, injuries you need to be mindful of, then just start to focus on the breath. So inhales and exhales equal in length. Breathing deeply through the nose, so finding a slow rhythm but one that's sustainable for you, so something that's comfortable, something you can maintain, and that will vary depending on, person to person. Feeling the rib cage rise and fall, and the breath is important, especially if your hamstrings are really tight today, so the breath can help us deepen postures. Obviously sometimes we shouldn't be moving further, but if you feel some resistance from the hamstrings as we go through today's class, sometimes a couple of deep breaths will help the muscles relax, help you sink a little bit deeper, if appropriate. And while some of the postures may feel intense, we never want to feel sharp or shooting pain, so always back off if you feel that kind of bone-on-bone sensation. We really don't want that. And if you can't breathe comfortably in a position, then you've gone a little bit too far, you just need to back off. Alright, before I fall asleep, literally 1 o'clock, but before I fall asleep, let's crack on. So take both feet down the mat, point the toes, arms overhead, just take a big long stretch here. Could well be the longest you've stretched all day. This is a real kind of morning stretch. I know it's afternoon, but you know, my time's all over the place at the moment. So the shoulders come up by the ears, the toes point. You're going to feel the stretch tops of the feet, the tops of the legs, the quads, the shoulders, the lower back. And then as you exhale, hugging the knees into the chest, rocking from side to side and just making some circles. Another lovely little movement to begin with, rocking out any tension in the lower back. Keep the back of the head on the floor, just use the hands around the knees or the shins to make the circles. Squeezing the thighs in towards the belly as you roll. And then bring both feet to the floor. Right, hamstrings, here we go. It's going to be bam, bam, bam with the hamstrings today. So I'm sorry in advance. So keep your left knee bent, left foot on the floor. We're just going to take the back of the right thigh, and then as you inhale, extend the right leg up towards the ceiling. So a lying hamstring stretch. If you feel the back of the head lifting, if the shoulders are lifting up, and if the upper body's really tense, use a strap around the back of the right leg instead of the hands, okay? As much as possible, we're trying to get the leg straight, even if that means dropping the foot closer towards the floor. So for the purpose of today's class, we're going to try and work out the bends in the knees. For most of the postures, not really the standing postures, but for these lying postures, let's try and get the leg as dead straight as we can, even if it means it's not vertical. And then work the toes back, shoot up through the right heel and feel that deep stretch come into the calf. The left foot is just resting on the floor, so we're not pressing down into the left foot, so we want the base of the spine to be down. And then enjoy this hamstring stretch. So this is a very kind of basic one that you can do anywhere. This, you know, is not just limited to yoga. If you've been to the gym, if you've had a run, you can lie on your back, you can extend your leg up towards the ceiling, and you can work into the back of the leg. So very accessible. Keeping the breath steady. And if you've got a bit of leg shake, that's totally normal. So don't worry if the leg's shaking a little bit. Obviously if the knee hurts, just relax the leg a bit. Otherwise, let's hold it here, keep the shoulders rolling back away from the ears, chin tucks in so the neck is long. And with every exhale, as long as you can keep the legs straight, as long as you can keep the shoulders relatively relaxed, maybe drawing the right toes a little bit higher up towards the face. It's just an option if you want to deepen the posture. It's already quite a big one as it is. So if you're finding this quite tricky, just keep the breath steady. Nice deep inhales and exhales through the nose. If you need to have a rest at any point, you can have a rest. Your practice, your rules. Okay, wonderful. Then from here, we're going to leave the right leg extended up. We're just going to straighten the left leg down the mat. And then try and get the left leg as straight as possible. Ground down through the left calf. And then work both toes back. So now it's double trouble. Getting the stretch into the left calf as well. You might find, as you straighten the left leg, the right leg wants to ping down towards the floor. If your groin's tight, that will happen and it's not a problem. You just adapt the posture to suit you. You may want to use a strap at this point around the leg. Doing really well. Constant but gentle pressure to ease the right thigh back. If it will go. This is the first posture in, so don't worry too much. Trying to keep the right leg as straight as possible. Okay, and the last step. As long as you can keep the shoulders quite relaxed, you're more than welcome to take the hands up towards the calf. Some people would take hold of the foot. I don't want to do that. I'm going to take hold of the calf. So you can move the hands higher up the leg, but just keep the upper body pretty chill. Keep the back of the head down, keep the neck long. Moving the hands up the leg isn't the purpose of the posture. The purpose of the posture is to feel the deep stretch up the back of the leg. It's just an additional element if your hamstrings are already quite loose. And that all depends on what else you've been doing during the day. So if you've been for a walk or if you've been out and about, you'll probably find this a little bit easier than if, like me, you woke up not that long ago. Okay, fabulous. And then exhale, just release, slowly lower the right leg down and then give your legs a little shake. And we're going to do exactly the same thing the other side. So to begin with, let's just bend the left knee, left foot on the floor. Take right foot on the floor, bend the right knee, right foot on the floor, then take the back of the left thigh. And then as you inhale, extend the left leg up towards the ceiling. One leg may feel a lot different than the other, so just bear that in mind. Maybe using a strap around the back of the left thigh, even if you didn't have to on the other side. Shoulders relaxed, right foot just resting on the floor, base of the spine down. And trying to get the leg as straight as possible today, even if it means the leg's not dead vertical. Working the toes back and shooting up through the left heel. Breath steady. Gentle pressure, if appropriate, to ease the left toes higher above the face. Chin tucked in so the neck is long. And just holding it here. My leg's shaking. My left leg's a lot tighter than my right leg. You might be the same, you may be different. Okay, fabulous. And then we're going to extend the right leg down the mat on the next inhale. Work the right toes back. Adjusting the posture if you need to by maybe switching to a strap if the groin feels tight. Seeing if we can press down through the right calf. Right toes face the ceiling, keep working the left toes back as well. So kind of supercharging the hamstrings today. So challenge yourself a little bit. Have a rest if you need to, but maybe see if you can sit with the sensation as long as there's no sharp or shooting pain. See if you can maybe sit with it for a little bit longer than you usually would. Giving the muscles a time to kind of get to grips with what's going on here. Amazing. And then if you choose, you can walk the hands higher up the leg, keeping the shoulders rolling down into the mat, keeping the leg as straight as possible, making whatever noises you want, especially if the hamstrings are tight. That's the beauty of practicing at home. You can swear, you can sweat, you can practice in your pants. You can do whatever you want. Alright. It's going to be one of those classes today. And then exhale, release. Give the legs a little shake. Fantastic. Take a cat stretch. Point the toes down, the arms overhead. Big lengthen. Make yourself as long as you can. Maybe feel a little lift in your lower back. And then hug the knees into the chest, rock from side to side, making some circles. Wonderful. And then you are popping yourself up into seated and making your way into all fours. Okay. So from this all four position, just step your right foot to the outside of your right hand and scoot your left knee back. So we're coming into an easier variation of a posture called lizard. So this in itself is not predominantly a hamstring stretch, but we're going to be doing something with it in a minute. But for now, We're just going to work into the hip ever so slightly because this is a hip opener. So, you know, the next stage of this posture is a big hamstring stretch. I need to work into the hips first, just to prepare the body a little bit. So keep the right knee over the ankle today or thereabouts, right toes face forward, hips are sinking down. So you're going to feel this lovely stretch as well, hopefully in the top of the left leg, so the quad, the hip flexor area. These areas get very tight if you're sitting down a lot. So if, like me, you work at a desk for most of the day, this might feel a little bit intense. Not here for too long. See if you can keep the chest lifted, looking forward. Okay, now we're going to start to bring the hamstring element into it. So this is quite an intense posture, especially second posture in. No prisoners today. So if at any point you want to come back to this slightly gentler variation, absolutely do. Otherwise, you're going to tuck the left toes and see if you can shoot the left heel back, straighten the leg without lifting the hips. So just push, good. So straighten the left leg, shoot back through the heel, but keep the hips low. So we are working into that left hamstring as well as a billion other areas. This is a posture called lizard. This is quite a strong one. Doing really well. So if you're straightening the left leg, see if you can straighten it as much as possible. So kind of get that quad real strong. It's a heat building posture. Toes are tucked, keep pushing back through the left heel, sinking the hips down. And we'll stay here for 5, 4, 3, and straighten the leg just a little bit more, 2. And 1, okay, so drop the left knee, and then from here, we're going to take the weight back as we begin to straighten the right leg. So walking the hands back, hands are on the floor for balance, then peeling the right toes off the mat. And we're coming into a posture called half split. Some people know it as runner's lunge, and another really fabulous hamstring posture if you do run, if you do anything that kind of impacts the back of the leg. Okay, so this posture here is not about taking the hips back. We kind of want the hips to stay over the knee. Little bend in the right leg's absolutely fine. This is kind of a big hamstring stretch, but keep working those right toes back. And if you wanted to deepen the posture, it's more about sinking the chest directly down, maybe coming down onto forearms. Okay, a few more moments here, keep the breath steady. Okay, wonderful, and then just bring the weight forward, hands forward, and then make your way back into all fours, and maybe just give your hips a little shake. So we're going to do exactly the same thing the other side. So now stepping the left foot to the outside of the left hand, scooching the right knee back to begin with. So coming into a little preparation for lizard, so an easier variation, predominantly a hip opener, so opening up into the left hip, may feel this groin, top of the right leg. Just keep the hips sinking down, the left knee somewhere over the ankle. We're just going to keep the toes facing forward today. Yeah, a bit hard for the second posture in, isn't it? No warm up today, straight away. It's okay, you can make these as kind of gentle or as active as you like. Really, you can stay in this variation or you can come out of the posture and have a rest whenever you want. Otherwise now, we're going to straighten the right leg. We're going to shoot back through the right heel without lifting the hips. So keep the hips low, just ping that right leg back. Lizard. Oof. So it's a big stretch in the right hamstring as well as very strong in the front of the right leg and a big stretch in the front of the right leg. It's a good posture really, it's just quite energetic, isn't it? But you're doing fantastic, I know you're doing fantastic, I can't see you, but I know you are. And then holding it here. Really tucking the right toes, getting the leg as straight as you can if it's straight. Breathe in deeply through the nose, and we'll hold this for 5, 4, 3, see if you can straighten the leg a little bit more, 2, And one, perfect, drop the back knee, and then take the weight back into the hips as you walk the hands back, straighten the left leg now. Working the left toes back. So coming into half splits, runner's lunge. A little bend in the left knee is okay. Big stretch into the calf, the hamstring. And if you like, you can bend the elbows, you can come down onto forearms, drop the chest down a little bit to deepen the stretch. Okay, a few more moments here. Just bearing in mind, one side may feel a little bit different to the other. Okay, wonderful. And then just bring the weight forward. And then step back into all fours. Hard for me to get my leg back then. And then just come into child's pose very briefly. You can have the feet and the knees together, or the feet together, knees as wide as your mat. Either way, you're sinking the bum down towards your heels and laying the weight of the body down. Forehead drops down towards the mat. If it's uncomfortable to bring the body down, then you can just stay like I'm staying on your forearms. You can stay upright. It's more important to get the bum and the heels close together than it is to get the body sort of pancaked against the floor, because it's the bum and the heels that will create the stretch in the lower back. Either way, we're only here very briefly, so just take a couple of deep breaths, letting the last posture settle, because it's quite a big one. Okay, and then make your way up into all fours. And it wouldn't be a hamstring class if we did not have a downward dog. So we're going to do quite a few downward dogs today. But this first downward dog is going to be very fluid, very intuitive, and we're going to use it to work into the backs of the legs. So if you want to spread your fingers nice and wide and press down through the fingers, so no gaps underneath the fingers, tuck in your toes, sending your hips up and back and making your way into downward dog. Okay, so setting the hands, setting the feet roughly hip width apart, hands roughly shoulder width apart, keep the head nice and relaxed, so no tension in the neck. And then just starting to pedal one heel down towards the floor, then the other. The heel doesn't have to touch the floor, the knees can be bent, just work with your body. But either way, everyone, no matter what the heels are doing, you want to make this pedaling slow, controlled, using your breath to guide the movement. Maybe pushing your hip back as you take your heel down. And then pushing forward with the hands to take the weight back into the legs. So we're trying to draw the hips to the back of the room. Okay, just a couple more moments here. Okay, fabulous. Then stop pedaling. See if you can draw the weight back just a smidgen more. Maybe draw your heels a little bit closer towards the mat. Push forward with the hands. Tuck the hips up towards the ceiling. And then from here we're going to come up to standing. So as you inhale, either walk, step or jump your feet between the hands. Look forward, lengthen the spine, hands or fingertips. Exhale, drop the head forward fold. Hold it here. So we're just going to hold this forward fold for a moment. Feet together, hands on the floor. And then see if you can use your hands on the floor to gently draw your forehead in towards your shins. Doesn't have to be anywhere near your shins. But just see if you can use the hands to facilitate the movement of bringing the body a little bit closer towards the thighs. As well as the stretch in the backs of the legs, you've got quite a nice little stretch in your lower back. The head is heavy, no tension in the neck. Okay, and then from here as you inhale, sweep your arms up, look up. And then exhale, arms by your side. Give your legs a little shake. All right, fabulous. So now we're going to work our way through some Ashtanga postures, just some really good hamstring postures. And we're going to chuck a sun salutation in between each one. Sun salutations are great for hamstrings. You've got the forward folds, you've got the downward dogs, you've got the planks, which are quite good as well. But first, before we do that, we're going to come into the two Ashtanga forward folds. So we are focusing predominantly today on the backs of the legs, but there is an additional stretch in the lower back. So feet hip width apart and parallel, hands to hips. As you inhale, make yourself nice and tall, look up, lift the chest. And then as you exhale, fold forward. So bend your knees as much as you need to. Want to come down and see if we can take the big toes first, 2 fingers and thumbs. Keep the thumbs off the mat, making a circle around the big toes. Now before we come into this forward fold, we need to make some room. So as you inhale, look forward, straighten the arms, lengthen the spine to the front of the mat, and then as you exhale, come into your forward fold and drop the crown of the head. So that's the only time we lift the head. Now we're in the forward fold itself. And although we don't lift the head, we still want to try and find that movement of every inhale, lengthening the spine away from the hips, and every exhale, moving a little bit deeper into the space we create. And eventually, seeing if we can get the belly and thighs together. Feeling that deep stretch in the back of the legs. Let the head go, head's very heavy, and the shoulders draw back towards the waist. So our ears have plenty of room and our neck has plenty of room. Elbows out wide. You can use the fingers around the toes if you want to draw the body closer to the legs, but you don't have to. That's only if you want it a little bit stronger. Pull your lower ribs in and then move the weight forward so you're not sinking back too heavy in the heels. So there's a lot going on here. Okay, a few more deep breaths. Maybe today just seeing if you can straighten, because it's a hamstring class, maybe seeing if you can straighten the legs just a little bit more than you usually would. Okay, perfect. Then as you inhale, look forward, either repeating that posture or if you have the room, we're going to slip the hands underneath the feet. If you want something a bit more challenging, see if you can do them both at the same time. Toes up in towards wrists. And then before we come into the fold, we have that inhale, look forward, lengthen, find some space. And then exhale, fold. You can use the hands underneath the feet to ease the body closer to the legs, shoulders roll back. And then holding it here. Okay, doing an amazing job. So while the heels stay on the floor, we still want to bring the weight forward. Maybe challenging yourself to straighten the legs just a centimetre more than you usually would today. Hips high, head low. Shoulders roll back towards the waist. Lower ribs in. A few more deep breaths. Okay, and then inhale, look forward. Exhale, hands to hips. Whoop. Inhale, come up, bent legs. And then exhale, give your legs a shake. Fabulous. So now we're going to come through a sun salutation. So feet together, ankles slightly apart, lift your shoulders, allow them to fall back, and just take a couple of breaths here. Sometimes with forward folds, they're great for the back of the legs, but they can make you feel a little bit woozy. So just bringing the attention sort of back into the body. If you've all got a little bit hectic, feeling the energy draw up the legs. The arms are relaxed. Okay, and then as you inhale, swooping the arms up, looking up, palms together. Exhale, fold, hands to floor. You can use the hands on the floor to gently ease your forehead towards your shins. And then inhale, look forward, lengthen weight into the hands. As you exhale, back to plank. Lower to a very low press up all the floor. You inhale through a back bend, lead with the chest. And then exhale, we come back into downward dog. Feet hip width apart, hands shoulder width apart. We're going to stay for 5 breaths. 5 breaths in this downward dog. Okay, supercharging the back of the legs, drawing the weight to the back of the rug, tilting the hips up towards the ceiling. 3, head's heavy. 4, and and 5. So as you inhale, feet forward, look forward. Exhale, drop the head. Again, use your hands to see if you can ease your forehead in towards your shins. And then inhale, arms up, look up. And then exhale, arms by your side. Give your shoulders a little shake, give your legs a little shake. And then feet to go at the front of your mat, because now we're going to come into Trikonasana, or triangle pose. A lot going on in this pose. It's a great little side stretch, it's a hip opener, but you will hopefully feel a big stretch in your hamstrings too. So we'll set it up together. As you inhale, take a step out with your right foot and turn your left foot in. So the left foot comes in, either 90 or 45 degrees, very much up to you. The right foot turns out about 90 degrees. So we're going to take the arms wide. Just make sure that your right heel is lined up to the mid-arch of the left foot. Arms wide. Inhale here. Then as you exhale, reach out to the right. Let your left hip float forward so you can reach down. And either take your right shin, place your hand on the top of the right foot, or if possible, take the right big toe with the first 2 fingers and thumbs. So the hands on the shin, the foot, or you've got hold of the big toe. Now, the next step is to inhale, lift the left hip back up, lengthen through the side body, open the chest up towards the side of the mat, and then peel your left arm up towards the ceiling and look towards your palm. Trikonasana. So we want the legs to be straight. So we want the back of the knees to be soft, but the legs straight, and that's what creates the hamstring stretch. So if you're struggling to keep the front leg straight, then just bring your right hand higher up the leg until you can straighten the leg. So maybe don't come quite so low. Roll in the left hip back, and then bring your chest back in space. So sometimes there's a real tendency for the chest to collapse forward. What we want to do is line the chest up with the hips. So bring the chest back in space if you feel like you're leaning forward. And then feel that big stretch, obviously. Left side body, hamstrings, left hip rather. And there's a real upwards lift with the left arm. A few more breaths. Okay, and then exhale, look down for balance, and then inhale, push yourself back up, or change sides. So turning the right foot in, turning the left foot out. Making sure the left heel is lined up with the mid-right arch, arms wide. Inhale. Then exhale, reach forward with your left hand. Let that right hip come forward. As you reach down, place the left hand on the shin, top of the foot, take the toe, whatever. And then peel the chest open, lift the right hip back as you extend the right arm up towards the ceiling and look towards your palm. Trying to get the legs as straight as possible. Maybe you need to come up a little bit higher if you're struggling. Bringing the chest back in space if you feel like you're leaning forward. And then rolling the top hip back down towards the back heel. Keeping the breath steady. A few more moments, give you some time to, I'll tell you in a minute. I won't keep you here. Good, then exhale, look down, and then inhale, come up, square the feet, and then step to the front of your mat. So what I was going to say is sometimes in Ashtanga, some people teach it quite quickly, or sometimes it's just a quick class, and you don't get a lot of time in the postures. For me, I like to take my time, so it takes me twice as long to do anything. But it's nice to spend a little bit of extra time sometimes in these postures, just so that you can kind of figure it out. But now, we're going to come through another sun salutation. So feet together, ankles apart, shoulders roll back. And then as you inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, fold hands to floor, drop the head. Use the hands, forehead to shins. And then inhale, look forward, lengthen. And exhale, back to plank, lower to low, press up all the floor. You inhale a back bend, lead with the chest, and then exhale, come into your downward dog. Feet hip width apart, hands shoulder width apart. Maybe challenging yourself to see if you can just draw the heels a little bit closer to the floor. Feeling the stretch up the back of the legs, pushing forward with the hands to take the hips back and then letting the chin come in towards the chest. 3, 4, and 5. So from here, as you inhale, feet forward, look forward. Exhale, drop the head, forehead towards shins. And then inhale, arms up, look up. And then exhale, arms by your side. Good, I'm gonna get a drink. It's hot in this room. It's like practicing yoga in a sauna. I'm sure people do that. Well, that's Bikram yoga, isn't it? Hydrate. So have a drink whenever you want to drink. So now we're going to come into reverse trikonasana. Another really fabulous hamstring stretch, but also quite a complicated little twist. So we'll set it up slowly. So stand at the front of your mat, and then we're just going to take a step back of a similar length as before with our left foot. So if you get a bit confused about the length, you can just have a look at me. It's very similar to what we just done in triangle pose trikonasana. If you know your balance is a little bit dodged, then just kick your left foot out towards the side of your mat ever so slightly, and the left foot turns in. Some people like 90 degrees, I prefer 45 degrees, but just turn that left foot in, don't have it facing outwards. And then square your hips up to the front of your mat, and throughout this we're going to see if we can keep the legs straight. Again, even if that means we need to stay a little bit higher. So from here, take your hands on your hips. This is going to help keep the hips facing forward. You inhale, lift. You exhale, start to fold. Now, as you come down, keep the hips facing forward, keep the legs straight, and you're going to take your left hand anywhere up that leg. If you're staying up quite high, you can take the left hand to the right thigh, you can take the left hand to the right shin, you can take the left hand to the top of the foot, but eventually we want to place it on the outside of the right foot. Okay, so if possible, left hand to the outside of the right foot. You could also put a block there, place the hand on the block. Either way, you inhale, look forward, and then exhale, turn in the waist, open the chest up towards the right, raise your right hand, look up. Complicated posture. So we're trying to find some length through the right side of the body. Now, what we want to try and do is draw your right hip back. As you press into the hand, lift the chest, and that's going to create the length. Don't worry if the right hand's not dead vertical, you can bring it forward, but either way, see if you can really open the chest up towards the side of the mat, keep the legs straight, feel that deep stretch in the hamstrings, and press back through the left foot. A few more moments. Okay, and then exhale, look down. Inhale, come up to standing, and then step forward with the left foot, step back with the right. Gonna do exactly the same thing. So if you found that wobbly, maybe just take your right foot out towards the long side of your mat. Hips are gonna stay square, legs are gonna stay straight, hands to hips. You inhale, lift, you exhale, fold. Once you're in your fold, then you can take the right hand to the left thigh, the shin on top of the foot, or eventually outside of the foot, using a block if you wish. Then inhale, look forward, and then exhale, turn in the waist. Raise the left hand, look up. And again, draw that left hip back as you push through the hand to create the length through the side body. Keep pressing back into that right foot, hold it here. Few more breaths. Okay, then exhale, look down. Inhale up, and then step forward to the front of your mat. Brilliant, so now we're going to come through another sun salutation. So balls of the feet together. Sunny enough, isn't it? I'm sorry if you're outside, this must be a killer. But balls of the feet together, ankles slightly apart. Give your shoulders a shake, just find your center. Take a couple of deep breaths here. Okay, then as you inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, fold hands to floor. Use your hands to pull forehead to shins. Then inhale, look forward. Exhale, back to plank. Lower to low press up on the floor. Inhale, pull through a back bend, lead with the chest, tops of the feet down. And then exhale, downward dog. Feet hip width apart, hands shoulder width apart, head relaxed, breath steady. Seeing if the heels maybe will come just a little bit closer towards the floor today. Don't worry if they don't. Tilting the bum up towards the ceiling. 3, sharing the weight between the hands and the feet. 4. And 5. So as you inhale, feet forward, look forward. Exhale, forehead towards shins. You inhale, arms up, look up. And then exhale, arms by your side. Brilliant. So we're going to do one more stand-in hamstring posture. Again, this one's quite intense. Perhaps not as difficult as the last one because it's a similar kind of leg position but less of a twist. But who knows, everyone finds different things hard. So feet together at the front of your mat and then take a step back with your left foot. Similar, basically the same stance. So we're going to come into a posture called pyramid pose. This isn't an Ashtanga posture. There is a variation of it in Ashtanga, but it's a lot shorter. We're going to come longer today. So got the back foot turned out about 45 degrees to 90 degrees, hips stay square, and the legs, as much as possible, stay straight. Hands to hips. Now as you inhale, lift. Exhale, fold forward. You can take both hands to the thigh, both hands to the shin, or rest your hands either side of the right foot. From here, you can inhale, look forward again, and then exhale, lay the body over the straight right leg. A couple of options. If you have blocks, you can rest the hands on some blocks instead. Otherwise, just stay a little bit higher, okay? Either way, feeling that massive stretch now in the front of the right leg. Keeping the back foot grounded and keeping the hips square. Just make sure the back of the knees are soft. So even if your legs are quite straight, avoid locking the knees out. The soft back of the knees. Few more moments. So you can actually do this up against a wall as well. If you have a bad back and forward folds don't work for you, then you can stay with a 90-degree back and just press the hands into the wall instead, and you still benefit from this really great little hamstring stretch. Okay, fabulous. Then inhale, look forward, and either just come straight up to standing, or you can walk your hands up the leg and then step forward with the left leg, step back with the right. And we'll do exactly the same thing the other side. Right foot turns out, hips square, legs stay straight but back of the knee soft, hands to hips. If it feels a bit wonky, again, just separate the feet a little bit, kick the back foot to the long side of the mat. Inhale here, then exhale, you're folding. You can rest your hands on your thighs. This is enough of a stretch for some people. You might want to take them to the shins, or you might want to rest the hands either side of the left foot on the floor or using blocks. And then inhale, look forward, and then exhale, lay the body down the left leg. Keeping the back foot planted, keep the hips square, back of the knees soft. Okay, and then inhale, look forward, and then exhale, either come straight up or just walk your hands up the left leg and step forward with your right foot, so you're standing at the front of your mat. Then give your legs a little shake and we're going to work our way down onto the floor through a sun salutation, do a couple of postures from a seated position. We're nearly there. So come into Samastihiti, feet together, legs together, lift the shoulders, allow them to fall back. And then as you inhale, swoop the arms up, look up. Exhale, fold, hands to floor, drop the head, forehead towards shins. You inhale, look forward. And then exhale, back to plank. Lower to low press up on the floor. Inhale, a back bend. And then exhale, downward dog. From downward dog, you are coming into seated. So you can practice your jump throughs or you can just collapse. You can just come down onto your knees. Either way, you're going to end up with both legs straight out in front of you, the toes working back, the legs together, and the hands either side of the hips. So we're going to come into a posture called Dandasana. So legs together, hands next to hips. You want to imagine you're sitting up against a wall, so move forward on your sit bones, draw your tummy in, pull your lower ribs in, chin to chest, chin to chest. There's a tongue twister. And then spin your elbows in. So this is a really strong posture. So if you're feeling a little bit of heat building at the top of the legs, absolutely fine. That's what we want. Really good way to strengthen into the core. Few more moments, so hold the tension. Okay, fab. Then from here, as you inhale, reach forward, take hold of your big toes first, do fingers and thumbs. So now we're going to do 2 seated forward folds that were exactly the same as the 2 standing forward folds we done earlier, but slightly trickier to work them from a seated position, I find. You might be different. So in order to take your toes, if you need to bend the knees, absolutely go ahead and bend the knees. They can be as bent as you like. Either way, as we come into this, think about bringing your chest towards your shins. So rather than just coming down and over round in the back, think about lifting up, over and forward. So there's a real sense of going forward rather than just down. So whether the legs are straight or the knees are bent, you inhale, look forward, just like we've done from standing, straighten the arms. And then exhale, imagine you're trying to draw your chest towards your shins. So we're laying the body over the legs. And then whenever you're in your fold, just let the forehead down, neck relaxes, and then we're drawing the elbows out sideways and the shoulders back towards the waist. So a massive hamstring stretch, a calf stretch, feel it in the glutes, the lower back. And just like the forward fold from standing, every inhale, without moving the body, without coming into sort of that first lift we done, trying to move the spine away from the hips, and then exhale, move into that space. Okay, and then as you inhale, look forward. You can repeat that posture, or just like the standing position, you're going to place your hands over your toes. So your thumbs are going to come over your big toes, and we've got the added benefit now of working into the feet. So drawing your toes back, you inhale, look forward, straighten the arms, and then exhale, fold again. Think about drawing your chest towards your shins. Bending the knees as much as you need to and letting the body relax down. Elbows wide, shoulders back, breath steady. Okay, a few more moments. Okay, and then inhale, look up. Then exhale, release the feet and just stay in this position. So we're going to come into a posture called half cow face, and this is a yin posture predominantly, and it's a very, very deep hamstring stretch, as well as an internal rotation of the hip. So we'll see how we get on. We're going to leave the right leg straight to begin with. We're going to cross the left foot over the right leg and place the left foot to the outside of the right hip. So we're trying to stack the left knee on top of the right as much as possible. Now if the hips are tight, there might be a big gap between the legs and you may not be able to take your left foot all the way back to the outside of the right hip. That's okay. For today, you might want to just place the hands either side of the body to support the back, tuck the chin in and sit up nice and tall. If that's where you are, that's perfect. Just keep the right toes pinning back and keep conscious of your breath. So don't just flop and give up. You're in a posture. You're in the beginning of this posture. So stay here with attention. Now, if you're managing to bring the right foot all the way to the outside, the left foot all the way to the outside of the right hip, if the knees are stacked and the knees feel comfortable, there is an option to fold forward. It's going to be a very big stretch for the back of the right leg because obviously now we haven't got the option to bend the right knee. So just take it easy. If you're going to give the fold forward a go, you're going to inhale, raise both arms up, and then exhale, start to fold down, laying the weight of the body over the legs. The hands can come either side of the right leg. You can bind your wrists behind the foot. You can take hold of the foot, very much up to you. Okay, just coming into whichever kind of variation of the posture works, letting the head go. Okay, a few more moments here. If it's too much stress on the right hamstring, feel free to point the right toes instead of working them back. That can. If you're sitting upright, keep breathing, keep that length through the spine, and keep working on that internal rotation of the left hip. Okay, wonderful, and then just come up, back to seated, and then straighten the left leg, and we're going to do exactly the same thing the other side. So now we're going to be crossing the right knee on top of the left, right foot to the outside of the left hip. You can wiggle around to do this. Just bearing in mind, one hip might be a little bit tighter. And again, if this movement isn't happening today, you may find a big gap between the knees. The right foot may come forward, and you may just need to have the hands either side of the body to support the spine. Sit up nice and tall. Just work the left toes back because you're still getting that lovely stretch in the back of the left leg. If the knees are stacked and if you feel comfortable, if the knees feel okay, you can come into this fold. You inhale, arms up, and you exhale, lay the weight of the body over the legs. You don't have to go very far to feel that big stretch in the back of the left leg. Hands either side of the leg. You can bind wrists behind foot. You can take hold of the foot, whatever's comfortable, and then just drop the head. Too much stress on the hamstring. If you feel like this is too much but you still want to work the fold, just point the left toes instead. Few more deep breaths here. If you're sitting up, keep being conscious of the way you're sat, length through the spine. Okay, and then as you inhale, come back up to seated, uncross your legs, give your straight legs a shake, and then we're done. So you can come and lie flat on the floor, legs straight down the mat, or you can have the knees bent. If you feel like your back needs a little bit more support, hands either way, side. It's done. I'm done. The class is done and I'm done. Hands a little way away from the body, palms facing up. Okay, and then we're just taking a few moments to let the body settle. So everything we've done today has been focused, apart from that little hip opener, apart from lizard, which was predominantly hips. Well, we have worked into the hips a little bit, but everything really has been focused around hamstrings. The forward folds, the trikonasanas, the pyramid postures, the lion postures. So working into the calves and the backs of the legs, but no effort now, and everything's very heavy. The legs are heavy, the shoulders heavy, back of the head heavy. And just letting your breath come back to normal, because we also done a couple of sun salutations, the heart rate up a little bit.
And if you have a tendency to let the mind, well, it's really you letting the mind, if the mind has a tendency to run off, which mine often does, then see if you can just focus on something to do with the sensations in the body, maybe how you feel now compared to before. If your hamstrings are probably, you know, might still need a little bit of work, or whether they feel like they've had enough. I'm a danger to myself when I start talking now at the end of these videos. Alright, so just settling down. And if you want to stay here, you're more than welcome. But I'm going to call it a day here before I do another monologue. So whenever you're ready to come out, you can wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, and take a cat stretch. Make yourself really long. And then after you've done that, you can hug the knees into the chest, rock from side to side, and take a couple of rotations. Just to massage the lower back a little bit. And then when you're ready, in your own time, you can pop yourselves up into seated. That went quick, didn't it? I went really quick today. Well, thank you for joining me. I hope your hamstrings feel okay. All of the postures we've done today are good ones for you to do at home, especially the lying posture, because I think sometimes people feel a lot less self-conscious, like if they're just sort of doing a lying posture rather than banging out a big yoga posture. But they're all very good for hamstrings. So if you have super tight hamstrings, keep coming back to these postures time and time again. The downward dogs, the forward folds, the trikonasanas, and hopefully with time, with patience, things will start to open up. So I'll see you next time, whenever that is, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.